neighborhood and also glance in the little free library and see if there's anything good available as well. Here are all the books that I am going to be unhauling. First one is The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hucho. This is the first in the Edinburgh, hopefully I'm saying that right, Nights trilogy series. Who knows? I was so excited for this book because it follows this girl, or the synopsis is it follows this girl that can talk to the dead, and that's basically all I got from it. When I first picked it up, I was like, this has really good ratings. It's a girl that can talk to the dead. The story for this was all over the place. I couldn't really understand a lot of the slang. I probably wasn't supposed to. I'm sure it does well, but yeah, I couldn't understand a lot of the slang. I felt like a lot of the time my eyes were just glazing over paragraphs, which is not good when you're reading a book. You usually want to devour every word, and I just didn't find that the fact that she talked to ghosts to be the driving force in this book. There were so many other storylines that I just didn't care for that became main storylines, and then the one that I found to be the most interesting only took up like 30 pages. So I ended up reading this really lowly, and I just don't want it on my shelves anymore because I don't think I'm ever gonna pick it up again. I don't think anybody in my house is ever gonna pick it up, so I'm gonna go ahead and unhaul this. The next unhaul is Priest by Sierra Simone. This is the first of a trilogy, and I was really excited to pick this one up at Barnes & Noble. I saw the little end cap that had all of the books rated by 1 spice to 5 spice, and this was under 5 spice. I should have known what I was getting myself into. I can handle some smut. I have no problems with any sort of smut in a romance book, but this was just a little too much. You're in 10 pages in and it's out the gate, very smutty. The storyline was not there. There was no storyline, and I almost felt like these characters weren't fleshed out enough, because if they followed the same professions that they're supposed to, they'd have a little bit more of a guilty conscience, and that would have made it more good, better. But this, not for me. Not gonna continue this series, gonna go ahead and pass this along. For our book of the month books, and I feel bad, but like I just would rather somebody else have these. I feel like other people would really enjoy them. Up first is The Resort by Sarah Oakes. This is actually one of my more recent book of the months. It's a thriller following 2 different point of views of 2 different girls that live on this island, and they both are there for various reasons. It's a thriller. It's a little dark, but it's not as dark as I wanted it to be, and it just wasn't what I expected. And again, it was sometimes a little bit hard to follow along, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pass it along. It's such a beautiful cover, and I feel like it'd be a great summer thriller for some people, but it just was not a favorite for me. Next, I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of people upset with me, but also I'd rather pass this along to someone who would enjoy it more than I would. This is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. I'm sorry, it's like a historical romance. When I got it from Book of the Month, I heard vampires and I got excited because I was like, ooh, a horror, get on my level, I'm excited. Yes, there are vampires, but it is a more historical romance than it is anything else, and the vampires were so creepy. I just wish they were fleshed out more, but they weren't. So I know this is a popular book. I know whoever gets this is going to really enjoy it, but it doesn't need to be on my shelves anymore because I didn't like it. So side note, I do want to mention, when my shelves eventually get very, very full, I do want to make it so I only have 4- and 5-star reads on my shelves, which would mean a lot of these books would go. But we'll get there when we get there, right? In due time. Next is Dark Corners by Megan Golden. This is actually a second book in a series, but it can be read as a standalone, which is how I read it. I didn't even realize it was the second in a series until I read it. It follows this woman who's a podcaster, a true crime podcaster. She's basically trying to solve this crime while you're following different point of views. It's been a long time since I've read this one. You're following an influencer who was kidnapped, and it was more of a mystery than a thriller, and it wasn't a cozy mystery, which I do like, but this was just not my vibe. I like podcast books, are some of my favorites, but this was just not it for me, and I feel like somebody else would also enjoy this one. My last book of the month, and the last one that was actually on my shelves that I have read, is She Started It by Cheyenne Gilbert. Again, this cover is everything, a perfect summer thriller. I predicted the ending, and I know a lot of people on Goodreads predicted the ending about 5 pages in. The ending is essentially written for you. You should know. You're following like 4 or 5 different point of views of these women who go to this like bachelorette party on this tropical island by a girl that they basically bullied all through high school. So they're like, why did she invite us for? But she did, and she torments them. That's kind of how it is. It was fine. Not for me. Next, we're gonna have the 4 books that were on my TBR shelf, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm getting rid of these. The first is actually, I'm getting rid of this one because I just know I'm never gonna read it. I'm just not. It's been sitting on my TBR shelf for probably 2 years now, and I'm just not planning on reading it. It is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I'm just not gonna read this one. I hate that it's a movie cover. I hate movie covers on books. They drive me mad. I'm just not gonna read this one. I've seen the movie. The movie's fantastic. You should absolutely watch the movie. I've heard the book's good too. I just don't need it. Next, this one might come as a shock, but be warned, I have a reason. I am unhauling Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is on my TBR. The reason I'm unhauling this one, I have 2 copies. That's really it. There's really no fun, exciting reason. I haven't gotten to read it yet, but I am looking forward to it. I have 2 copies of it. I was gifted 2 copies for Christmas, and therefore I need to get rid of one of them, so I can't just sit with 2 copies. Like one's gotta go. So I contemplated reading it at the same time as my husband and being like, you read it with me, but that's also just never gonna happen. So some lucky person is going to pick up Fourth Wing, and maybe we'll tandem read it together, you know? Now these last 2 I'm unhauling for the exact same reason, and that is Flawless by Elsie Silver and Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is the start of the Chestnut Spring series. This is the start of the Boys of Tommen series. I am unhauling these even though I have not read them, because the covers changed. And I know that's a stupid reason, okay? I know it. You don't have to explain it to me. I bought the first of the series, which, like, by the way, these covers are actually flawless, the mirror covers. You can't get these mirror covers anymore. The covers have now changed, and I don't want to have the first book in this cover and the rest of the series in different covers. That is just, I can't do it. I just can't, like, I just can't. So I am unhauling these because the covers have changed. So Flawless, she used to be gorgeous. I love her so much. In case you want to know what she looks like now, I already have her. That's what the cover looks like now. And then Binding 13, like I said, this is the first in the Boys of Tommen series. First of all, this book is how many pages? Like 600 and some. The font is the size of 0.1. It is teeny tiny, but the covers again have changed. It now looks like this, which low-key, I like this cover more, but this book is shorter, so I'm interested to see what they took out. I'm sure I can figure that out online. So these are the new covers. These are getting kept, obviously, on my TBR, and of course I still have Fourth Wing, but yeah, these gonna go to someone, some lucky person, because I just can't handle the covers changing. It drives me mad. So these are all of the books that I'm unhauling. I'm gonna go ahead and lay them out and send pictures to group chats and see if anybody wants any of these, and like I said, if they don't, I'm just gonna take them to the little free library. So let's go ahead and do that. That is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to see more reading content from me, please let me know, because I would love to film more. I have so many ideas, and this is just me stepping my little foot in the door to see if this is something you guys would like to see. I know I do my monthly reading wrap-ups, but I would love to do TBRs, reading vlogs, reading specific videos. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.